Oh no! Did she just open mail that belonged to someone else? That sort of unprofessional conduct can get you fired. Okay, wait, she didn't really do that, did she? It used to be pigeons that delivered mail. Maybe storks too, for babies. They were never really tempted to take a peek. Cynthia Smith, a dedicated postal window clerk who had settled into her daily routines at the local post office. She was a familiar face to the customers, always greeting them with a warm smile and efficiently handling their mail and packages. Her job was more than just a means of income. It was a reflection of her caring and helpful nature. Since we're talking about post office work, perhaps she could also courier babies like the storks do. Cynthia had always loved collecting stamps ever since her childhood. This may have been the reason she chose a career in the National Postal Service when the opportunity arose. After high school, she was at a crossroads and had two options. Either she started on the path of a career posting mail, or went to college to study history. She ultimately chose the former, and so, as they say, the rest became part of her personal history, as it was written. She even met her future husband at her workplace. It was love at first sight when he awkwardly entered the post office hall to send a package to his brother. It turned out that packaged foods were on the prohibited list of things you couldn't ship. Back then, you'd have been forgiven for thinking the post office's service was limitless. Cynthia tried to explain this to him without laughing out loud. He eventually got the joke, and they easily hit it off from that day on. Clocking 12 years already since then. How time flies. Beyond work, Cynthia's life revolved around her loving family. She was a devoted mother to her two children, James and Emily, and a supportive wife to her husband, Mark, who worked tirelessly as a construction foreman. Despite their busy schedules, Cynthia and Mark managed to create a harmonious balance between work and family, always finding time for each other and their children. But what about a family pet? Every weekday morning, Cynthia embarked on her commute to work, navigating through the bustling city streets. She boarded two different buses, sharing the journey with a group of regular passengers. Over time, they had formed a special bond, exchanging pleasantries and stories during their early morning rides. The familiarity and camaraderie among this group of commuters had become a cherished part of Cynthia's daily routine. Her post office branch was situated in a mid-sized town. It had quite a sizable number of people who patronized the post office. Cynthia lived within the sprawl of the city in a low-income tower of apartments. Between her workplace and her home, there was a stark contrast. Whereas her workplace environs were a breath of fresh air, her home neighborhood was rough. As such, going to work was the highlight of her day. It was not that she hated her home and being with her family. She was simply torn in between. Arriving at the post office, Cynthia greeted her colleagues with enthusiasm. They were a tight-knit group, each with their own unique personalities and stories. The conversations during their breaks were lively and varied, ranging from the latest news to personal anecdotes. They had formed a supportive community within the confines of the post office, always ready to lend a helping hand or a listening ear. Even on the best days, they were still surprised by what happened next. Was it a letter bomb? Really, it's not that kind of a story. Okay, we're sorry, but what could be more interesting than that? Maybe a giant stork passed through town to deliver a baby package. But seriously, are post offices really that boring? At that point, the entire staff at this same post office numbered as many as 7. There were 3 clerks in the main hall, which also included Cynthia. Aside from her supervisor, there was also a busboy, as well as 2 outgoing mailmen, which rounded off the number. Trust us when we say that they are the image of efficiency. If there was such a thing as an award for post office excellence, then this branch would certainly be on the list of nominees, don't you think? So on a seemingly ordinary weekday, a mysterious package arrived at Cynthia's booth. The sender, an elderly man, had come to the post office to send a special parcel to his daughter. The air surrounding the package seemed to carry a sense of intrigue and anticipation. What could it possibly contain to the point where this aged man felt he needed to send it personally? Cynthia's curiosity was piqued, even as she realized she had to handle the package with the utmost care. As she began processing the package, Cynthia became more and more curious about what could be inside that would prompt such importance and secrecy. Not very many old-timers had the strength or mental capacity to visit a post office on their own. Apparently, the old man was based at a hospice nearby. He had connived with an orderly there to allow him to come to the post office by himself. Poor guy, but to be fair to him, it seemed like he was healthy and not demented or anything like that. At least he could gracefully carry himself without staggering or stumbling. Either way, this didn't stop Cynthia from allowing her imagination to run wild as she contemplated the possibilities. Was it a family heirloom? A long-lost treasure? Or perhaps a heartfelt letter containing words of wisdom and love? The arrival of the package stirred a sense of excitement among Cynthia's colleagues as well. The adjacent clerks, Nancy and Robert, joined her at the booth, eagerly speculating about its contents. The post office buzzed with a rare excitement as everyone became enthralled by the enigmatic package. This type of package didn't come in every day, and it had something to do with both the particular sender and, by extension, whatever it contained. Post office personnel were good at sniffing out packages. It was part of their training to be able to profile packages and the people sending them just by looking. That is why the image of an old man coming into the hall with all the discreetness in the world resonated highly with Cynthia and her colleagues. It was very rare indeed. Life went on as the days turned into weeks. Cynthia carefully packaged and shipped the mail, all the while harboring a burning curiosity about the mysterious parcel. Her interactions with the sender had been brief, leaving her with little information to piece together. She found herself daydreaming about the possible surprises the package held and the emotions it could evoke in its recipient. To be clear, this was unlike her, and it was very unprofessional to even harbor such a thought. Heck, it was the kind of precedent that could get you fired. Otherwise, she could at least tear off the wrapping paper mentally. Hasn't the package already been shipped? Lucky Cynthia, and shame to the devil. Ultimately, the day arrived when Cynthia received a letter of gratitude from the elderly man's daughter. In her heartfelt message, she expressed her overwhelming joy and gratitude for the package. The contents turned out to be a collection of cherished memories, captured in old photographs, spanning several generations of their family. Cynthia may, in fact, have been thinking it was something bigger. The daughter explained that she had been estranged from her father for many years, and the package represented a bridge between their fractured relationship. It served as a reminder of the love and bond they once shared, rekindling a desire for reconciliation. But honestly, was her father dying? Whatever the case, Cynthia was deeply moved by the impact the package had on the father and daughter. It certainly reinforced her belief in the power of human connection, the importance of treasuring and preserving memories. Inspired by this experience, she became even more dedicated to her role as a postal window clerk, understanding that each package she handled held significance to someone, carrying within it a piece of their story. In the following days and months, Cynthia's interactions with her regular customers took on a renewed sense of purpose. She listened attentively to their stories and offered words of encouragement or celebration when appropriate. Through her genuine care and dedication, she became more than just a postal window clerk. She became a source of warmth and comfort in the lives of those she served. All of that happened 30 years ago, and since then, email and e-commerce have become integral parts of our lives. Most post office services around the world have gone out of business. My brother and I remember our Nana telling us this story as we sat on our laps, and we share it with you now, on the same day we put her to rest. As all those years passed, Nana never ceased to touch the hearts of countless individuals who crossed her path at the post office. She understood that within the bustling chaos of everyday life, there were hidden moments of connection waiting to be discovered. In those moments, she found fulfillment in the true meaning of her role as a postal window clerk. So, wherever you find yourself, spread the little love you can. It's as simple as doing your part in the system.